Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview, and our special segment, Coffee on Sunday, wherein we bring you interesting and well-known people and take them and you through their life and times. It would not be wrong to call them a power couple. They complement each other, they stand together, and yet they are individuals in their own right. Naveen Jindal, a businessman turned politician, and one who fought a court battle for the tricolour. His wife, Shalu, who is a well-known Kuchipudi dancer. We speak to them together and take them down memory lane. Naveen and Shalu Jindal in this edition of Coffee on Sunday. Welcome to the show, Naveen and Shalu Jindal, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
I'm not going to say Mr. and Mrs. Jindal. I'm going to address you as Naveen and Shalu.
Of course.
It's a strange coincidence that the last time I interviewed you, it was around the Independence Day. So also this time. So let me ask you, looking at the tricolour, what are the feelings that cross your mind?
So for me, every day is special. For me, every day when I see the national flag, and I see it many times a day, so it just always reminds me of my duties towards my country. It always inspires me to be a good citizen. So whether it's Independence Day or any other day, it's all the same for me. I think we have to celebrate our independence and be grateful for it every day.
Shalu, you were with him in his battle for the tricolour and he went to court, etc., and you supported him. What are your feelings and what is the kind of India you would like your children to inherit? Is this the India you want your children to inherit?
Yes, definitely. This is the India. The way India is going right now, it's going to be the 5th largest economy of the world. And I'm very proud to be an Indian at this point of time and very grateful that my children will see, the flourishing India that it's going to be and it is becoming right now.
Naveen, is today's India different from the one perceived by the Nehrus and Gandhis?
No two moments are the same. We are always evolving. So I think we are going through evolution. We have come a long way. We must achieve population stabilization. We must achieve a better quality of life for everyone. No, I am not satisfied the way we are. I think it needs to be a lot better. We are moving in the right direction, but a lot more work needs to be done in a lot more conducive environment. We really need to work, and everyone, not only the government, citizens, everyone, we all need to play our role to make this happen.
From business to politics and back to business, take me through the transition.
Well, I joined business when I was very young. I was 22. I worked with my father regarding the national flag. My struggle started in 1993, and finally I won in 2004 after a decade-long fight that every Indian must be allowed to display the national flag, our tricolour. And then 2004, I joined politics. People of Kurukshetra in Haryana, they voted me to power, and I had 10 years. I got the opportunity to serve the people of Haryana and serve Indians in the parliament. And after that again, I have now been focusing since 2014. We had a very rough time in business.
I was just going to come to that actually.
Yeah. So it was a very difficult time, and from a very high, so many things happened which to me were very unfair. cancellation of all the coal blocks. We went through a very difficult time, but we are very happy to say that in Jindal Steel and Power, no banks lost even a single rupee. So we were able to repay all the debt and pay all the interest. And now we have emerged with all these things. We have emerged stronger, and also with the positive policies of Government of India, like Make in India, etc. So there was good support for the Indian industry. So things have turned around for the company. We're doing very well. From a high of almost 50,000 crores of debt, now we are less than 10,000 crores. So God has been very kind. We have emerged stronger facing all these challenges.
You are credited amongst the entire family and your brothers for actually turning around the company from a very low to now a blue chip company. What is your business philosophy and how did you manage that turnaround? With all the opposition, with all the barbs, even to the extent of being called corrupt, for instance. So how did you take that? And Chalu, I'm going to speak to you about that after he answers it.
It has all been a team effort. And everyone, there are thousands of people who have worked very hard to make this happen. And ultimately, I think God has been kind. And I think if you are sincere, ultimately, the truth wins. So company has emerged stronger. And I just think it's blessings of my father, my mother. Sharu's praying all the time. So God has been very kind to us to make us, come out stronger out of all these challenges.
So what is your business philosophy? What is it that makes you different?
Through economic activity, we can contribute a lot. Like in the last, I would say, last 25 years, our company would have contributed more than 5 lakh crores to the economic activity. So nothing happens just by talking. What we learned from my father, being an entrepreneur, to create industry, to create employment for millions of people. And 100,000 people are working directly, and millions of people are working indirectly. So this is our contribution to the economy. And then when you make money, you do schools, you make hospitals, universities. We made 2 universities in my father's name. One in Haryana, the O.P. Jindal Global University, and engineering university in Chhattisgarh, Raigad. Whatever we are, it is the blessings of people of India. And we must contribute to making India the country of our dreams.
You just said nothing happens with talking. Is that one of the reasons why since 2014 you have stopped talking? And some of your critics say it is because of fear.
It is a choice. It is a choice that you make. So like I said, we were on the verge of bankruptcy, and we had 50,000 crores of debt. So we did not want any banks or anyone to lose a single rupee. So I had to focus wholeheartedly in reviving the business, in ensuring that we repay all the debt. I feel my gift is to be an industrialist. I have been a politician too, but I think I can make a lot more contribution to the economy, to the country, being in business.
Your story is similar to Amitabh Bachchan's story. Where he was successful, then bankrupt, and then bounced back. Do you find a similarity?
See, I've always drawn a lot of inspiration from Amitabh Bachchan ji. And yes, you're right. I mean, he was doing very well, and then he had challenges, and he sprung back. And he's always, I've had the honor to meet him a couple of times. And it's always such a pleasure to meet him.
Shalu, 2014, as he said, was tough times when they began. Did you ever see him really down and out?
Well, many times, there were such stressful times. 2014, like you mentioned, and Naveen has just told you the whole story, what happened. So they were very stressful times. And of course, Naveen was quite disheartened many times because we both felt that it was very unfair what was happening to us. Like Naveen said, by the grace of God, and we saw miracles, which happened in our lives. And every day was a miracle. So, there were tough times. Naveen used to come home in the evening and say, now what am I going to do tomorrow? You won't believe it that the next day he used to meet somebody who would guide him, or, something would happen which would be a miracle, and, things would just start flowing positively. In the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 9, verse 22, there's a very important verse. And in that verse, it says that there are 2 things with which, one can become very successful. And one is karma good karma. And the second thing is, along with karma, you have to have the grace of God. So if these two things combine together in any one person's life, then success will come automatically. So I think that happened with us.
Touch wood.
Touch wood.
You have faith in people and you have faith in God. And that is your driving and motivating force. Tell me about both.
Also, I feel that people are God because, the Atma that pervades in all of us is the same. So divinity is the same that we have in all of us. So I have my Babaji, my spiritual Babaji. So he always used to tell me that Nar Seva hi Narayan Seva hai. Along with that, good karma and doing initiatives which will benefit the people is the most important.
So did you transform Naveen or did he transform you, and who became more religious?
No, I think I'm more religious, but Naveen is a karma yogi.
Both of you have named your son Venkatesh. And that perhaps comes from the Tirupati Devasthana.
So we did not, her father did.
My partner.
Mr. Oswal, my father-in-law, he named him Venkatesh. And when he was born, he had vowed that he's going to first do the darshan and then come and see the child.
So
And
he
that's what
went,
did.
he walked barefoot, he went to the temple, he did the darshan, gave his hair, because hair is the biggest, donation that you can give to Lord Balaji. And then he came back and then he came to the hospital to see him.
When you got married, Naveen was a businessman. Later, he took to politics. Did you encourage him? Did you discourage him? What was it? Or were you happy about his joining politics?
I was very neutral about it. I was very young and I had two small children at that time. And of course, my father-in-law had been in politics for quite a number of years when we did get married. So I did see the politics, the political thing happening in the house. And Naveen has always been very close to him. So I could see Naveen taking an interest from the beginning in politics. So it was a gradual process. I knew he would join politics at a certain point in his life. And for me, it was like I loved meeting people from different backgrounds. So, it gave me an opportunity to actually meet so many people, wonderful people actually. They gave us so much of love and respect, which I wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
But I do remember once, we were fighting about something and I had to go. I said, if we are going to have Mahabharata at home, what am I going to do in Kurukshetra?
Yeah, that's your
So ready to go fight.
Yeah. Do you miss Parliament? Do you miss being in Parliament?
Not really. Not really. I just feel it's very difficult to contribute. I spent 10 years of my life, as a parliamentarian. I was able to even succeed in some of the things. Like, we were not allowed to wear the national flag on clothes. I took it up in the Home Committee, and then both houses of Parliament, passed it unanimously.
Smoking ban
Smoking
in Parliament,
ban.
which Sitaram Yechuri would have never forgiven you for.
The speaker was Sri Somnath Chatterjee, and I went to request him, and I wrote a letter, and I said, sir, the smoking is banned in public places, and here in Central Hall, people are smoking. And actually, I used to get headache from smoking. So he took it well. He said, okay, young man, let me see. But then he noticed the flag, the lapel pin I was wearing. He said, but let me tell you that you cannot wear this kind of a badge to the parliament. I said, sir, but this is not a badge. This is the national flag. He said, yes, if you want this to happen, then you have to write. You have to get this rule number so-and-so changed. So anyway, that also did change. And smoking also, got banned. And I remember because my father always used to smoke. So the day this happened, I came home and I told my dad, I said, Babuji, आपकी तो मैं सिगरेट बंद नहीं करा पाया, लेकिन मैंने पार्लियामेंट से मैंने स्मोकिंग बंद करा दी.
Shalu, coming to your dancing talent, how and why did it begin? Just take me through that.
My mother was very keen on fine arts, and she really wanted that, I should learn how to dance, music, instruments, everything was a part of my childhood. I graduated in dance, Indian classical dance, Kathak, and then got married, had children. So dance was a distant dream. And then just by coincidence, I was at Tirupati Balaji, and I was with my parents and just standing outside the temple waiting for the doors to open. And then I saw my Kuchipudi gurus, Guru Raja Radha and Kaushalya Reddy. They were also there with their family. So I didn't know them. I was a big fan of their dance. So I went up to them. I, gave my pranams and said, Guruji, I'm a big fan. We exchanged numbers. After a month, I was in Raigarh at Naveen Steel Plant. In fact, we were there. And I got a call. So I picked up the phone, and the first thing Guruji tells me on the phone is, so meri shishya kab ban rahi ho? So I just started to keep myself fit. And then slowly, I got so much into it that it just became a profession.
You scale mountains. Naveen flies aircraft.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I still have to ride horses.
Yeah, the horses will come too.
Yeah.
But tell me about scaling a mountain.
Yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity I got, and I'm so grateful for that. I summited the Mount Kilimanjaro. It's been, I think, almost 8 to 10 years now since I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. It was a great opportunity as well as a great lesson that I learned. Because when you're climbing or trekking or, doing something in nature, you start living in the moment. Because you don't know what the next moment is going to bring. It's just one step after the other. It's just a kind of a cleansing process also that happens within you. So, and there's a lot of silence because you're just on your own silently. You're just climbing, walking, just meditating with your own thoughts and just kind of rediscovering yourself. So for me, it was all of that.
You look so fragile that, for me to connect you to climbing a mountain is like...
Yeah, well, I trained for that. So I used to climb like 5 to 6 floors every day, at least 10 times. That was part of the training. And then, of course, on the treadmill, you run quite a bit. And so you have to train yourself.
So she maybe just looks fragile. She's not. She has a lot more stamina. I can't run as much as she can run probably 4 times. And I remember when after we had a second baby, after she used to go to a gym, where some of my friends also used to go. And after 2-3 months, she would keep running. And my friends from Polo, I remember this friend of mine, Adhiraj, telling me, she's a woman or she's a horse. She keeps running.
But tell me, why did you give up flying?
Flying is a lot of serious work. So I never enjoy. I did my training, and because I started, I got a license, and there was not a conducive environment here for flying. So and then I was like, okay, I can always have somebody to fly for me, and I never really enjoyed it.
Your grandfather was a farmer, and your father started by selling buckets. From there to now where you all are, what is the magic wand?
We're very passionate steel makers. You enjoy creating something, and it's very exciting. Steel making is very, very exciting. And in terms of whatever we thought, whatever as a child, you all have your dreams. You want to do this, you want to have this. So I think God has been so kind that whatever I ever dreamt of, God has given us like hundreds of times more than we ever dreamt of.
Yet there must be some unfulfilled dreams for both of you. And Shalu, what is it that you would want and not happened?
Before I answer that question, I wanted to say something that Naveen was talking about previously. All our holidays have been in the steel plants. Most of our holidays. My children have grown up in the steel plants.
Honeymoon, where did he take you? And did he give you a steel ring instead of a solitaire?
So basically, yeah, actually, he never gave me a ring. He never gave me a ring.
I gave back the ring that he gave me.
I know. So my mother-in-law gave me this engagement ring, which I still wear.
Naveen?
But Naveen's never given me any gifts.
Coming back to your father and grandfather, more your father, how much did his being a politician help in the business developing?
So I think being in politics in India, because India is not a mature democracy, it does not help. There were at one point, there were 150 cases that were filed against my father, including Tata. Politics does not help business at all. Otherwise, you would see the top Indian industrialist being in politics.
You believe in the Polo principle of staying in the saddle. Have you applied that to life also?
I've been thrown out of the saddle many times. I've got hurt. But then I always, I don't have to think. If it allows me, I've always got on back onto the horse also.
Shalu, to me, staying in the saddle looks like, or I would interpret it like someone being very dominating. Is Naveen dominating, and does he have the upper hand, and does he stay in the saddle at home?
Initially, when we got married, he was very dominating. But I think the children came, and then, he's such a wonderful father. I must share that with you. He's the best father I have seen, And so I think now we get dominated by our children. So I'm very honest.
And I completely get dominated by her. And I'm happy to let her do that.
That's not how she's waking it down. Naveen.
But that's how it is, You learn that slowly and slowly they get bolder and bolder. And both the kids, obviously, they side with her. So, I'll let them dominate.
You started your own polo team because you were told you were not good enough to play with the local teams. So tell me that story.
And that's true, that I was not the best player. If you're not the best player and you were playing for somebody else, obviously that person wants the best player to be there. So obviously when you get thrown out of the team, it's very disheartening. When I made my own polo team, then I could make the team as per, something that would complement me, my style. And we did very well. We are amongst the best teams in the country. And same thing happened in shooting. I was doing shooting, skeet shooting, and I wanted to be in the Delhi shooting team. And they,
Said no.
some amount of politics is also there in all sports. So they did not want me. So then I made, in Chhattisgarh, we made our own team. And then we won the national championships many times. I created a national record also in shooting, which still holds. It's just like when you have your own thing, then you can design things as per what suits you, what works for you. And just, I've had better luck with that.
So it's not that you can't take no for an answer, is how I interpreted it actually.
Yes, sometimes I don't want to take no for an answer. But when you do get wiser, you do realize that sometimes there are ways that, God doesn't want you to do something. You do something, there's a no. You do something again, you try harder, there's a no. And then you realize that maybe it's not for you.
Shalu, does he take no for an answer?
I think he finds a way to get to kind of convert the no into a yes.
Shalu, from an Oswal to a Jindal, tell me the transition and the challenges of settling into a conservative family like this.
So our cultures were fairly similar because my parents follow Jainism. So I had grown up with Jain gurus, coming home and living with us, over my childhood formative years. And Naveen's parents also adopted Jainism. They are Therapanthi Jains, and they are very religious as well. So I think our cultures and values were so similar that it was very easy for me to, adjust. But of course, they were more conservative than I was brought up.
Let me take you back to an unfortunate incident about your father's death. Everything changed overnight. Are you still picking up the threads?
No, I think our father, he made us all very, very independent from the beginning. There was always been great support from the family. And my mother has been, now taking care of everyone. So we just want to all the time draw inspiration from him and, walk into his footsteps.
On a lighter note, you flew planes, you ride horses, you've done shooting, you've done everything that a rich man's son would do. Are you one of the spoiled children of rich parents?
I think I've done it all. They're saying that, a jack of all and master of none. But that's not the whole saying. But the saying actually goes, a jack of all and is master of none, but oftentimes is better than master of one. I think my best is yet to come. I want to play my best polo that I did, like I used to play 30 years ago. I want to again start to do that.
On that note, Naveen and Shalu Jindal, thank you very much. Thank you for your time and thank you for taking all the questions.
Thank you so much.